There we have it. Newcastle United's 2024 summer transfer window has now concluded. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be harsh, I'm going to be objective, and I'm going to also be fair because I love this football club. There is nothing I love more than Newcastle United, and I feel like all of you watching this video deserve the respect and deserve the honesty from me, my personal thoughts on this transfer window, where I think Newcastle messed up, and also the positives coming out of this, because there are positives, I will say straight away, about this window, which we'll talk through first. However, the obvious point I like to make is that it's been a poor transfer window. It has not been a good look for us. You've got to remember, Amanda and Murder have both just left the football club. Paul Mitchell has came in as a director. Darren Hughes want to have a bigger part of the football club. The Public Investment Fund owns 85% of the club now, so they have bigger control over the club. And yet, that was by far the worst transfer window we've had since the takeover. So why was that? Now, let's get through the positives first. The obvious point being is that we have not sold any of our key players. Gordon stays, Isak stays, Bruno stays, and even the likes of Trippier, despite him putting a loan request, according to some journalists, Trippier stays. So Newcastle's kept the core of its squad despite missing out on European football. So you can't deny that's not a good thing, because it is. Newcastle's kept their main players going into this season. Despite Eddie Howe being empty-handed in this window, he still has a lot of work with the current team, and he still has the tools there where he is able to at least get European football that team. It may not be the Champions League that I felt like Newcastle should have been targeting towards, but Conference League, Europa League, Newcastle should still be getting one of those two, in my personal opinion. I feel like with the signings, Lloyd Kelly's a good free signing. Can't complain about that. It's an upgrade in Paul Dummett. It's an upgrade in Matt Ritchie in terms of that left back position. So I feel like that is a good signing. Start the window. Good player to get in there. Versatile. He'll come in good for Eddie Howe. And Osula, we have been screaming out for a third striker to come in. I know Osula hasn't got much experience and he's never actually scored in the Premier League or the Championship. But for £15 million, I think it's a good gamble. I think that's something Newcastle can work with. I've got no issues with that. However, that's where the positives end. Lloyd Kelly is our key signing of the summer transfer window. Is that good enough? And that's the problem with Newcastle, because Eddie Howe, I think, has been empty-handed in this window. You can't tell me straight away that based on that transfer window, Newcastle is trying to get anywhere near Champions League football, or Newcastle trying to win trophies with a transfer window like that. Newcastle needed to be ambitious. We needed to be putting statements across. And it's been a window where Newcastle had only wanted to bring players in if the price was right, but they weren't willing to go that extra step. And for a player like Mark Gay, we spent over 3 weeks trying to bring Crystal Palace centre-half in, and Newcastle were never prepared to go that extra step. Newcastle have missed out on Mark Gay because they weren't able to commit to spend an additional £5 million. So Newcastle's actually walked away from the transfer because they weren't willing to put £5 million more down. So it depends what you think about that mentality. Is that mentality good, where Newcastle are willing to not be overcharged for a player and they're willing to put their hand up and go, we only want Mark Gay as a centre-half option. If we aren't getting him for the price we want, we're not bringing anyone in. Do you feel like that's what Newcastle should have done? Or should you have expected Newcastle to go in with a bit more money, be overcharged and potentially be mugged off a little bit from Crystal Palace, but to actually get the player in? It depends what side of the fence you on. And I do respect Newcastle to sticking to their guns, but to then not bring anyone in and to leave some options gaping. A winger. How have Newcastle not signed a winger again? Now that's what I'm livid about. Because window after window after window, we as fans are screaming out, we need an upgrade on Murphy, we need an upgrade on Miggy. They haven't done it again. They haven't done it. And there were options available. Pedro Neto signed for Chelsea. We could have went in for him. Makadeki, before he scored that hat-trick for Chelsea again, if a player Newcastle felt like they wanted, they could have put money in. But we never committed. We never put bids in for any winger during that window. That baffles me. How have we not done that? How many windows have we witnessed now where Newcastle have missed out a gaping option? And having Murphy or Miggy starting for us this season, all season long, is going to damage us. That will damage Newcastle in an attacking sense. And now when you look at last season, Newcastle were the highest teams in the league in terms of scoring goals. So on the flip side, you go, well, Adam, we score plenty of goals. It's about not conceding goals because we conceded quite a lot last season. Well, tell me what defender we have signed this window that will start for Newcastle next season. No one. No one starting for us. Lloyd Kelly is our only defender we have brought in who is a squad rotation player on a free as well. A free signing is the only defender we have brought in. We've signed 2 goalkeepers where the reality is we didn't sell Martin to Braga, so we have 5 goalkeepers now. Vakmadimos only signed because of a PSR struggle that we had with the Premier League. Eddie Howe does not even want Vakmadimos and he's at his football club. John Ruddy, I mean, this is Mark Gillespie 2.0. He's an older Mark Gillespie, someone that's going to sit in the club. He'd be great in training sessions, but the reality is he's kind of there to be a bit of a squad morale in the dressing room, but he's never ever going to play for Newcastle. And those are our signings. That's the signings that shout in Newcastle. We're trying to go out and get Champions League football. No, we're not. No, we're not with signings like that. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be harsh in Newcastle. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to judge this window and what it was. Poor. It was a poor transfer window and it just lacked real ambition. The only ambitious target Newcastle targeted was Gay. When we were getting overcharged, we spent weeks on this deal. Newcastle then did not commit because I had £65 million down. They weren't willing to go to 70. That was enough for Newcastle to walk away. So we had at least £65 million that could have been spent in this window. Newcastle have decided we are going to save that money for a future window. And the club is entitled to do that. And we as fans, I feel like, are also entitled to criticise it because we are the ones that are spending that money every single week. And Newcastle have the audacity every single week to be releasing brand new Adidas kit, continuously releasing brand new merchandise and releasing new products where Newcastle spend to the fan base every single week. And the reason why we do that is because of FFP, so we can put that money back into the transfer market. And you tell me, what do we spend in the transfer market? Nothing. We're charging fans all this money every single week for this match day revenue to get additional revenue and money into the football club. And then we aren't spending that money in the transfer market. Newcastle have decided we aren't going to spend the £65 million. We're actually going to keep the money and save it for a future transfer window. What? What? Did I think we're going to get Champions League football? Did I think Newcastle can potentially win silverware this season with our team? Can our team do that? I feel like if factors go our way, no injuries, for example, some teams dropping off, then yeah, I think Newcastle could have that in the stock. But the reality is, I think we're top 6, maybe just outside top 6, potentially top 7, top 8. I think we've got just about enough to get European football. But with the public investment fund owning such a big part of the football club, with Newcastle having money there to spend, and with the fact that we've lost Elliot Anderson and Yankuba Mensah in this window, I actually think Newcastle look worse now than what we did at the start of the transfer window. So how can we go through a full transfer window and actually look worse off than we did at the start? I think that is mental, and I don't think it's been a good window. I do think questions have to be answered. Journalists have been critical about this. You see club legends like Alan Shearer come out and be critical about the window. You see fans come out and be critical about this window. I actually put a poll on. Over 1,600 people at the time when recording this video answered. 93% of people believe our window is less than a 5 out of 10. 93% of the fan base think it's 4 out of 10 or below. And that was the impression from the fans coming out this window, that it's below average. It's a poor window. And I agree, it is a poor window. And I don't think even the most positive Newcastle fan can come out and say that it's been a good window. The only good part is that we kept our good players. Lloyd Kelly is an okay signing. Those are the only positives you can say come out this window. And when we had the likes of Darren Eales, you had, again, Paul Mitchell coming out in Newcastle interviews and just stating that, and they were looking to bring top players in. We want to make some big signings. Well, where are these signings? Because we've done nothing for 2.5 months. What was that, 80 days? We've done nothing. And now, again, I don't think it's a disaster. I don't think it's the end of the world. I feel like Newcastle will still have a lot this season. but I feel for Eddie Howe, and I know some fans may criticise Eddie Howe for potentially the targets he put in there, but you can't deny that Eddie Howe wanted Mark Gay. Eddie Howe was Mark Gay or no one else was his motto. He wanted Mark Gay. It didn't happen. I've got a feel for the guy in that one because Newcastle spent such a large amount of time trying to get that deal done. And Eddie Howe will feel either let down or disappointed that he didn't get that player in. And you can't deny that. So I do feel for the manager because this was a big window for us. This was massive for Newcastle trying to push out this season and to achieve even more than what we could have done. And that was a poor window. That was awful. It was a bad window. I mean, myself, you guys were spending thousands of pounds every single season. I don't think we're entitled to be saying that. I don't think we're ungrateful to be saying that. I know we've done so much more since the takeover has happened, but we are not Mike Ashley Newcastle anymore. This is a brand new Newcastle based on the transfer windows so far. We spent £70 million this window, but that's only because of the Lewis Hall obligation last season where we had to spend over £30 million for him. That's what I would say to that. I spent about £40 million this window, which is actually the exact same amount that Mike Ashley would normally spend in the summer window. So you can't walk out of this window and tell me that we've invested loads into the football club. We've done everything that we could to get these top players in, because where are they? Where are these players? We didn't sign them. So the reality is it's been a bad window for Newcastle. That was Paul Mitchell's first window as a director. Doesn't look good, does it? And that's the reality. I don't think it's looked good. And I don't feel like I'm harsh coming out and saying that. I don't think I'm fickle. I don't think I'm reactionary coming out and saying that. It just has not been good for Newcastle. And we as fans, I think, do have a right to be critical about it. I think we do have a right to be upset about it. And it's not been positive. It's been quite a negative window. We have not, with the exception again of Mark Gay, we have not at any point actually attempted to sign a first team player. And then on deadline day, I mean, at the last minute on deadline day, we get journalists for a brief half an hour come out and say Newcastle's running for Langa from Nottingham Forest. What an absolute load of PR rubbish. No, we did not go for Langa at all. We've only done that on deadline day to give the impression that Newcastle's tried their best to go out for a player. Absolute rubbish. We did not. If we wanted Langa, we would have signed him months ago. Hell, we could have got a Langa in the PSR deal where Anderson's went to Nottingham Forest. We could have spent a bit more money and got a Langa over here instead of Lakpadimos, a player that, again, we did not even want. Absolute load of rubbish. So to see this PR nonsense come out in deadline day, no, we did not want a Langa. We would have signed a Langa if we wanted him, or would have been close at some point in the window. Not the last couple of hours in deadline day. I felt like Newcastle's business on deadline day was over from the get-go. Eddie Howe, even in the press conference in the morning, said that there's a possibility Newcastle won't make any signs today. And I believe in that morning, Eddie Howe fully knew that we weren't bringing any players into there, because the club just gave up. The club just knew after Mark Gay, well, you know what, we keep this money, we don't see anyone available for us. And I know some variables, to be fair, will go against Newcastle's favour. But again, there was just no real intent. There was a lack of intent in this window. Newcastle lowballed Crystal Palace, and that was the only real spark Newcastle had in this window, just going after a player. Deep down, we knew we weren't going to reach Crystal Palace's agreement on, and we spent far too much time on that. And there was just no intent. There was just nothing in this window where fans can honestly believe that Newcastle's had the full backing they could have had in this window, because we just hadn't looked like doing that. So my personal opinion, my overall rating for this window, what would I give it out of 10? I'm going to be critical and I'm going to be harsh because, again, I love this football club. And the amount of older Newcastle fans I see, people in their 50s, people in their 60s who have never seen Newcastle win a trophy and never seen Newcastle get to a stage like that, it's depressing. I mean, how has it been 70 years since we won a trophy? 70 years? Like, how? We were so close 2 years ago. Newcastle got a good squad now. We just need that. We just needed that backing. We didn't get it in this window. So what would I give out of 10 to go back on topic? 3. 3 out of 10. And I've only said that 2 points because we kept our main players. 1 point for Lloyd Kelly and Osula. That's the only positive I got in this window. We've lost Amanda, lost Murder, lost Dan Ashworth, lost Anderson, lost Minter. Where else do I continue here? Because we've lost a lot. And we still haven't got rid of all the dead weight. Fraser went in deadline day. That was a good one. Well done, Newcastle. Hayden's still got 2 more years, and he has a lot of wages as well. He is a pricey player that is staying at his football club. Jamal Lewis stays Martin de Bradger stays. We've still got some of this dead wood. Miggy stays. That was a player Newcastle wanted to get rid of. He hasn't went. Wilson's injured, so we knew he was staying. Newcastle hasn't been able to offload perhaps some of the players that wanted to get shot of. And again, that's when the favour against Newcastle. But it's a below average / poor window. And below average, I think, is actually a nice way of putting it. I think it's been worse than that. It's just poor, innit? But yeah, a little bit of a rant there, a little bit of an objective view in it. I've been as honest as possible. I don't think it's been good enough, and that's the truth. And hopefully we'll see in the next couple of weeks, perhaps when this and when more talk comes out in social media, why that might have been the case. Because Newcastle fans are right to be upset. They are. And that's my opinion on it. Hasn't been good enough. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you agree? Do you think I'm being harsh? Please let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you all in the next one.